Hi, this is Anita, the Global Trade Gal. One of the things that's recently come out in the United States and as a world in general, as through the tariffs which the United States has put on, or as many people call the Trump tariffs, have been instituted, and all of this that's the upheaval that's been going on in the world's global supply chain is the fact that Asia is the powerhouse of the global supply chain. I want to talk today a little bit about why that is and maybe explore some reasons as to why and things that I myself have seen. And why I believe that Asia still will continue to be. And that for people that are business to business, buyers, why Asia is still a great place or still a great place to be able to buy products. And, despite even with all of the tariffs and the other things that are happening, this entire shakeup that's happening, in the world itself, I believe that it's still a great place to be able to manufacture and purchase products. Asia is still the global backbone of manufacturing. Despite these shifts in the global supply chain, Asia still continues to remain the heart of manufacturing, especially in my industry of home decor manufacturing. China continues to dominate output and infrastructure, while Vietnam has emerged as a formidable player. And of course, other countries have too along the way. But, together these account for a significant share of global exports. And things such as, at least in my industry, would be lamps and lighting, indoor, outdoor furniture, decorative accessories. All of those things, Vietnam and China continue to produce a lot, and especially lately, a lot of it is from Vietnam. And one of the reasons is it's just the skill. It used to be, years ago in places like North Carolina, Michigan, the U.S. produced a lot of furniture. And at that time, there were a lot of skilled workers in those areas that understood furniture production. If you were going today to try to set up a factory, you'd probably be hard-pressed to find people that really understand that type of production. Why? Because they've moved on to other jobs, or they are retired, and maybe, people just simply are not interested. Years ago in China, when I first started in this industry, we used to do a lot of hand painting. We hand painted a lot of vases, we hand painted boxes, we hand painted mirrors. We did a lot of intricate hand painting. The factories that I worked with had teams of hand painters that were phenomenal, that could basically take very, very complicated designs and they could hand paint them. And they could hand paint them at a very cheap price, at a very good price, and with a lot of detail. Then suddenly, the whole look changed and nobody wanted hand painting anymore. And so all those hand painting workers moved on and they left and they went somewhere else. And today in China, to find somebody who can hand paint like that is actually very, very expensive. It costs a lot of money. Why? Because the workers are no longer in place there, and you just don't have the pool of workers that you once had. Workers moved on. They're doing other things, but they're not in a factory anymore, hand painting like they once were. So that's why in Asia, it's still the backbone of the manufacturing, whether of most manufacturing sectors. Why? Because you have the workers there in place, you have technology in place, and you can be able to get the output that you require. Asia also has scalability without sacrificing design. In other words, that they're equipped to be able to handle large production runs with shorter lead times. They have flexible minimum order quantities for growing brands, consistent quality, against, batches. In other words, if I place an order today and place an order in 6 months for the same item, my quality would be the same. The wood would be the same. The finish would be the same. Things would be very much the same. And, so there's a consistency that they have throughout it because they're able to consistently get the products or the things that they need. So that, of course, is something which is very important for somebody, especially if you're looking to build a brand. You want to be able to produce something today, and then if you need to buy it again, you want to be able to buy the same thing again and not change it or change the design. Asia does a lot of what's called OEM, which is, your own customers designed, or they do a lot of customization. Almost all factories that I know specialize in OEM or ODM, which means that you give them the design and they produce it. They don't give you the design, but you give them the design, especially in places like, China and Vietnam. There's a lot of factories that are just set up with that. That's all that they do. They just do all OEM work. They basically do all work where the customers give them design. They understand how to develop the products. They know how to go from the product development to the manufacturing stage. Now, you might think, some of you who are listening who may not understand this, but actually something like that is extremely complicated to do. It's not easy to be able to develop a product. It's not easy to be able to get a product from the paper to an actual product to production. It takes skill, and it takes people who understand how to be able to do this. Asia has this great mix between traditional craft and modern technique that you don't find in a lot of other places. You find these villages that are able to some of the traditional crafts, but at the same time they're able to use some modern equipment. This means that things like some of the handicrafts and some of the skills that you can use, these highly skilled individuals who understand how to be able to do this. They're able to give competitive pricing with strong margins. So that's one of the main things that has gone on, is the pricing's competitive. It could be because it's lower labor costs, but it's not only just lower labor costs. It can also be the economies of scale. It can be the raw material sourcing, and it can be established logistics chain, logistics supply chains. So, it's not just as simple as, they earn less than us, and that's why they're able to produce it cheaper. The reality of it is that is not the only reason why. There are many other reasons why, Asia is able to produce things that, people basically require the price they require. They can respond to market trends. They adapt to, different types of market trends. They have mood boards. They look at trends. They look at, the production. They prototyping. All of these things, they can be able to react to it. They have an end-to-end production ecosystem. They have raw material suppliers right nearby, component suppliers, packaging and printing vendors. They have quality assurance and compliance services and freight and logistics providers. They have it all right there and nearby, so that they're able to, be able to draw upon these people, and they come into the factory, they can see what they're doing. You can get the cartons printed, the other things. You don't have to send it to another, faraway location. It can be, pretty close by, that you can be able to check it out. That's another reason why sustainability is growing in focus. There's more, factories are looking at things for sustainability. Factories in Vietnam are looking at, FSC, their certified wood, water-based finishes, recycled metals. I know there's been some talk recently in the United States where, some of the government people made a comment or something about, like, well, would you rather pay more money for a toy made in America, which is safe, than a toy that has lead paint in it? And I thought, I don't know of any manufacturers in Asia that are producing toys that are using lead paint. In fact, you could not even be able to ship that into the United States today because of the requirements and the testing and everything else that's required. Asian manufacturers generally are very much on to what is required to be able to produce and to ship something, and to have something be produced to be able to be sold into the United States. In Asia, we have something which is called carbs, which carbs is a type of, MDF plywood that has no formaldehyde to it. Everything we produce here is carbs compliant wood, and we have to put a sticker on it. We are not shipping product that has formaldehyde in it. So if you're in the United States, in certain states, maybe some people are there, but we over here in Asia, we cannot. So most Asian manufacturers are very much clued in to the technology which is required for the places they are selling to. They look at long-term strategic partnerships, and that they really want to have a long-term strategic partnership with the people they're working with. These are many reasons why, business-to-business buyers should continue to look to Asia, and why Asia is such an important part of this. I've written a blog post on this, why B2B buyers should look to Asia for scalable, customizable home decor. And we'll put a link in the description below for you to be able to check this out if you're interested more in this. But if you're looking for business-to-business production, or B2B, Asia is the place to go. on so many levels for so many different types of products. I can't say it's for every product and it's for every type of industry, but for so many products, at least for my industry, which is home furnishing and home decor, it is a very important and essential place to be manufacturing. Thank you so much for listening. We really do appreciate you listening to us, being part of our community. We hope that you'll press that subscribe button and join with us. Let us know others know about us. We'd love to have everyone come and join our community. Thank you.